The impeachment inquiry facing President Donald Trump will likely have an impact on elections up and down the ballot next year. And we're getting an early look at how it could play in the big Senate race in Texas. Senator John Cornyn came to Austin earlier this week. The event was to announce $65 million going to Texas A&M from the Army Futures Command. But the questions afterwards focused on impeachment, and the senator says he thinks it's bad for the country.
I don't know any rational person who thinks that an impeachment inquiry will not have an impact. It will certainly occupy the press. It'll occupy a significant amount of the members of Congress, and I would love to believe that she's right, that it won't have any impact on our ability to get things done. But it's hard enough already to get things done in Washington. And here again, 13 months before an election, they've chosen to start this process and jeopardize our movement on prescription drug prices, on a highway bill to improve our infrastructure, bridges and roads, pass a trade agreement, the USMCA, the successor to NAFTA, which is really important to Texas, and I would argue to the nation. I would say all of those are in jeopardy as a result of this political decision.
The Democrats vying to take on Senator Cornyn have a much different view on the impeachment inquiry. The 5 top candidates in the Democratic primary came together on the stage at the Texas Tribune Festival. The first question was about the impeachment inquiry, and no surprise, they all support it. Here's a little of what each candidate had to say.
I've supported impeachment for quite some time, long before Speaker Pelosi called for it, but very disturbed by what we're seeing coming out. And certainly when you're locking away information about a telephone conversation, that would suggest you really didn't want people to find out about it. And John Cornyn, meanwhile, as I've said, one of the main reasons I'm running is because we have a senator who is a water boy for this disaster of a president. And this week, John Cornyn has been delivering that water in barrels and barrels.
As an attorney by trade, I think it's very important that we look at the facts and we investigate the facts, and that the spirit of law must be honored, no matter who's in office, no matter what the political affiliation might be. And so Leader Pelosi has, in fact, taken the right course by pursuing this impeachment inquiry. When you withhold and abuse the power, withhold information and abuse the powers of the presidency in the way that has been alleged, that is a very serious offense and one which must be fully investigated. So I believe that she took the right course of action, and I'm hopeful that we will see justice do its course.
I definitely think that anybody who has seen what we've seen, just what we've seen in the media, and we all know that it goes a lot deeper than what we've seen in the media, would support at the very least an impeachment inquiry, at least support the investigation. And the people who are standing up against, like John Cornyn, against even investigating, are clearly putting their party over their country. Now, we don't want to make that mistake either. We want to make sure we're always putting the country over what's best for the party. Right now, we see a threat to the Constitution. We want an investigation, and frankly, I'm not sure anybody should be saying they would vote for impeachment or would approve that without seeing the evidence. It's pretty clear to me what the evidence is going to say, but until I see that evidence, I think that we have to be very careful.
In my mind, what we have to do is make sure that we investigate all possible areas of the law where our president has acted in a criminal nature without the best interests at heart of the American people. And that it's not just about protecting our democracy, it's about protecting every single American that counts on our government to work and truly represent us. And the last thing I would say is that so much of this right now, this debate we're having about impeachment is not just about, it's about our entire democracy. In my mind, the greatest threat to our democracy in 2020 does not just come from outside interference by the Russian government, but internal interference by leadership in the Republican Party that are refusing to allow a democracy that will truly represent all of us. And so that's why I support impeachment and this impeachment inquiry.
Have you ever seen a president like this before? Have we ever been to this point in our democracy where our institutions are being threatened by someone that said he can shoot someone on Fifth Avenue and get away with it? The fact of the matter is he's trying to hijack the entire democracy. He's trying to hijack our Congress. And when you begin to think about it, many of the senators are complicit. They sit idly by and say nothing. You think about Corning. Corning has served on the Supreme Court here in the state of Texas. He served as the Attorney General. He says nothing at all. It says it's all about politics, as opposed to waiting for the facts to come out and act upon the facts as opposed to politics.
You just heard from 5 Democrats running for their party's nomination for the U.S. Senate and the chance to face incumbent John Cornyn. Chris Bell is a former U.S. representative from the Houston area. Amanda Edwards is a Houston City Councilwoman. MJ Hagar is a retired Air Force officer and former candidate for U.S. House. Christina Ramirez is the founder of JOLT, a Latino civic advocacy organization. And Royce West represents Dallas in the Texas State Senate.